Welcome to the Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters podcast, where we explore the unexplained and mysterious phenomena that have occurred throughout the state of Michigan and beyond.
From UFO sightings to ghostly encounters, we delve deep into the stories, the evidence, and the theories behind these strange events.
We are your hosts. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Wayne.
We are an educator duo that after an encounter with a triangular UFO in 2018 in Michigan, we decided to investigate UFOs and the paranormal. In this podcast, we will be speaking with eyewitnesses, experts, and researchers to uncover the truth about some of the most intriguing cases of paranormal activity in and around Michigan.
Our goal is not to convince anyone of the existence of these phenomena, but rather to provide a platform for discussion and exploration. So, buckle up and join us on this journey down the paranormal rabbit hole.
On an escalator.
Okay. Hey, everybody.
Hey, everyone. I don't know about an escalator tonight, not without a jetpack on.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, it's been a crazy couple of weeks and it just keeps on getting crazier. But welcome back, everyone. And it is September 28th, 2025. And tonight feels a little heavier than usual. And I think a lot of us are still processing that shocking assassination of Charlie Kirk a couple weeks ago. So no matter where you stood on his views, he was one of the few voices willing to show up and talk directly with students and the public. So his loss is a blow to open dialogue, especially like shows like us, and it's left a lot of us a little shaken. And then this morning here in Michigan, we had another attack on a church in Grand Blanc, after a gunman drove his truck through a church of Latter-day Saints, so a Mormon church in Grand Blanc, started shooting and then started a fire, destroying the church and being deleted himself. So
Control-Alt-Delete.
Yeah. It's a wicked world, and we'll get into that at the end of the show. But let's talk about some other things that have gone on in our absence. Now, first of all, I'm just going to quickly explain. I ended up getting really sick, and following my sickness, Michelle got really sick, and
he made me sick.
Well, it's the beginning of the year, you know, the school crud, the back to school crud, and so yeah, a lot of that went down, and
it's the dive back into the petri dish.
Yeah.
So my voice is just now kind of recovering. It's been a rough couple weeks.
It has been. So we just wanted to let you guys know a little bit about what was going on, and then all the stuff in the news and everything. But we'll talk a little bit more about that. But on this show, we've always tried to keep that door open, you know, to discuss not only the tough things that happen here on Earth, but also the mysteries that remind us how much bigger the universe is than politics and violence. So tonight, we're going to turn our attention to some of the strange and unexplained. We have not voiced anything about the latest UAP hearing in Washington. And then we've got some Congressman Tim Burchett, some of his claims about possible underwater UFO bases, which is very bizarre.
Which it's funny because we've talked about that before.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's something that people have been talking about for a while. And yep. And then we got that bizarre story out of Panama about a meteorite that seems to be growing something. And then I'm going to break down some of the latest findings about that interstellar object 3IATLAS.
I was going to say November's almost here.
It is. It is. So stick with us. We're glad you guys are here. We're glad to be back. And we're going to unpack all of this, and we're going to do it all together. So, Michelle, I think we should just say it's that time. What time is it?
It's time for What's in the News.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we haven't done that one in a while.
Hey, baby. What's in the news? Okay, cut that crap. Okay. So let's talk about this on Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. We had the task force hearing on restoring public trust through UAP transparency and whistleblower protection. So I thought it was supposed to be a UAP hearing, but it turns out that they're calling it something to do about restoring public trust. In this country, in our blood as Americans, we don't trust the government, no matter who's running it. So I think they need a little bit of help with that. But let's go ahead. And Michelle, I want to open this with a little stunning part of that hearing. You want to check it out? Here. Let's go right here. There we go. I like that one. Check this out, everybody. I'm sure you're probably aware.
I'm not jumped to the conclusion that I believe that there are, aliens coming from another planet. But I'm open to that. And I think that it's our responsibility, especially when we're seeing that we have a government that is actively blocking information from us. Just last night, I tried to get an amendment onto the National Defense Authorization Act that fit in the germaneness of that bill to have UAP disclosure. And conveniently, it was named non-germane, mostly deemed by staff, not even an elected official. This is the kind of stuff that we repeatedly see. Last year, we were blocked by someone in House administration from being able to receive a full briefing from Arrow. So not an elected official, but someone in staff blocked us. And I've had it. Enough is enough. I want to queue up a video that I've...
Okay, so I'm going to give you my my take on the video that is about to be played here. I want to see if you guys think I might be a little bit close on this. I know there have been a lot of people out there debunking and all that good stuff since they've showed this. I've got some problems with it because of classification and capability. So I'll show you here in a minute. So let's follow along. And by the way, he's talking about dealing with a congressman is sitting there complaining about dealing with the bureaucracy of the bureaucracy that they have all created, so sorry, Mr. Burleson, I don't feel sorry for you.
Been given. And as before it starts, I'm going to describe, this was taken October 30th of 2024. This video is of an MQ-9 drone tracking an orb, or this object, off the coast of Yemen. You'll see that another MQ-9 launched a Hellfire missile.
Okay, we've got two things happening like a magician's trick. We're being told two things are supposed to be true. Number one, that is an orb. And number two, it's a Hellfire missile. Okay, so just keep that in mind.
You cannot see that drone. And so I'm not going to explain it to you. You'll see exactly what it does.
And just real quick, I want to tell you guys what's happening right here. That is LRD. And I believe that is, or LAD. It's hard to tell on this screen. But that is a designation for something. Then LASE is the laser. And then it's being designated. That's what the DES is. So this is oh man, I forgot what the LAD or LRD. I want to say like long range, or
it's an R.
It's an R, yeah. So, but anyways, laser just means that they're lighting it up with a laser. So from the drone, one of the drones, either the one we're getting the video from, you see how he has the lock box on it? Now, once they lock an object and hit it with a laser, it will track. And it will stay locked unless that thing does something crazy to break the lock. But those things have computers on board that know to lock pixels into their their memory, right? So wherever those pixels go, it will turn the camera. So it's being lased. Now, the reason you lase something is because there's a seeker head in another missile, and that seeker head is looking for where that laser light is terminating, where it's the shiniest. So it looks at it and it steers toward it. Now let's watch and see what happens. Okay. And boom. So for those of you listening later on in the audio, it looked like a missile came from the upper left-hand corner, came and struck the object. It broke into pieces, and it continues to move while the missile that they told us was a Hellfire flies off to the lower right-hand side. And now they are zooming out, and you can see the object. It looks like
when it zoomed out.
It's
you can
still
see
moving,
it traveling.
Still traveling over the water. And there looks like there's pieces reflecting light back toward the camera.
So, Mr. Knapp, have you heard about, events like this occurring? And what information might you have?
So now George Knapp is the Bob Lazar, Las Vegas reporter that's been doing this stuff for years.
I have heard about events like this. I have heard about this event. Jeremy Corbell and I talked about it in one of our episodes a while back. We did not have the video, though. There are servers where there's a whole bank of these kind of videos that Congress has not been allowed to see, that the public hasn't been allowed to see. Occasionally, some of that stuff gets out in the wild and it comes our way. It should be going to you. The public should be seeing this stuff. And why you're not allowed to, I don't know. But that's a Hellfire missile smacking into that UFO and just bounced right off. And it kept going.
It kept going, and it looks like the debris was taken with it.
Yeah. What the hell is that? What
again,
like that?
Again, I'm not going to speculate what it is, but the question is, why are we being blocked from this information consistently? I want to ask this just question. How in the world, this is the document. I want to enter this in for the record if it hasn't already been entered.
Okay, so now he's going to go off and talk about how did he smuggle these documents out of Russia and things like that. So here's some problems I have. First of all, they tell us before they show the video what things are supposed to be. Well, we don't know that for sure. Okay, again, it could be anything. My thoughts on it is I think it's a balloon, and what you're seeing is parallax. It's not an orb. It's not a tic tac. It's a balloon, and it probably is some type of a spy balloon device. Now, was that a missile? Probably, but with a video like that, and they say it was a Hellfire missile. Hellfire missiles are AGM, air-to-ground missiles. All right. Yeah. So Dorothy says, so much talk about this video. What is it really? I think it's a balloon that probably had some type of spy stuff on it. I think that balloon was about 3 miles or so up above the ocean. And, terrorist networks and things will use spy balloons and weather balloons and things like that, as Michelle is dealing with her cough still. Yeah, get another cough drop there.
These are my friends.
But the thing that bothers me with this whole thing is don't tell us what it is unless you absolutely know what it is. That's the first problem I have. The second problem is you're talking about an air-to-ground missile being used in a air-to-air situation, which we probably don't want people knowing certain capabilities of our weapons, that we can do that with that weapon, with a Hellfire missile. Now, because that the way that angle and everything is all set up, it looks like the missile is coming horizontally. My guess is that missile is actually dropping from about 6 miles up, about 35,000 feet or so, and being steered through the balloon. And the balloon continues to deflate and it looks like it continues to go with the wind, which it would. And so just physics would say that the pieces of the balloon that ripped off, and as it's moving, it's going to keep its same velocity as, as long as nothing acts on it besides the wind, it's going to keep going in the same direction. It's inertia. So the momentum will carry it forward. So now, was it a standard Hellfire missile? Oh my God, dude, we didn't see any explosions and stuff. Right, because we have different kind of Hellfire missiles. Now what I'm going to show you is the missile that I think it is. Let me go ahead and bring this up. Sorry, you can only share one thing at a time, which is weird. I think it's this baby right here. Bada boom, bada bang. This is the Ginsu. The Hellfire Ginsu. There's no warhead, but if you look, this is a nasty ass weapon. They use this to take out terrorists. And it's wicked. What you see there are 6 blades that pop out of the side of that thing. It still has the seeker system. It's still like a normal Hellfire, except it doesn't explode. 6-foot blades, 6 of them, pop out of the main body, the tube of the missile. And they drive those, those things will go through buildings. They'll go through the roof of cars. And if you're a bad guy and there's 4 of you sitting in a car, this thing can go right in between the front of the car and the terrorist you want to kill. It's that accurate, and slice them literally in pieces on the way down with no explosion, leaving the rest of the people alive. Yeah, they call it the Ginsu. Yep. But technically it's the R9X missile, and I think that's what they used on the balloon. Because remember how everybody had a fit about shooting down the Chinese spy balloon, the F-22, I think it was, or was it an F-35? Anyways, they shot it with a missile. They didn't use guns. Well, same kind of deal, right? They want to puncture the balloon. They don't want explosions and fragments and stuff going everywhere. So this right here would be your perfect missile to use, dropped from above onto a spy balloon, which again, that's what I think was going on. That's my take on it. Michelle, what do you think?
So what do you think it was that kept traveling, kind of like a drone device that was on the balloon?
Usually they carry something. Well, weather balloons will carry a package underneath them called a radio sound, which is collecting data as it goes through the atmosphere. Spy balloons can do the same thing. They will listen in on phones and hack conversations and radio transmissions and things like that, or they could use them for, spy collecting information or, capabilities and things like that. So just my thought on it is, it was just, if it was over Yemen, it was probably some type of Yemenis type of thing. So I don't know. That's my guess. But when they're saying, okay, this is an orb, come on. You're jumping to conclusions on what things are. We don't know what that is.
I was going to say, we haven't gotten that much disclosure in any hearing for them to call something an actual orb.
Correct.
So
again, I think it might have been one of our balloons that they wanted to recover. Maybe it was going somewhere that they didn't want it to go, and they were just recovering it, and then they leaked it. And there's an internal war going on within the government about UAPs and disclosure and what things are going on for real. And it wouldn't surprise me if people on the inside, to make other people look stupid, would release a video like this and go, look, it's an orb being hit with a missile, and the missile bounces off. It doesn't bounce off. It goes through it and it slices it. And the only thing that makes sense at that point is a balloon, in my honest opinion. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't know. Michelle, what do you think? Anything?
That's one hell of a missile.
Yeah.
I've never seen a
Ginsu?
diagram of the Ginsu missile
Yeah. Yeah.
R9X.
It's vicious. You should look up some pictures of what it does to cars when it goes through the top.
Oh, when you look at the diagram down here, as far as, it's almost 6 feet in length.
Yeah. Yep. And those blades come out. Yeah. So anyways, that's kind of my take on that whole thing. What do you guys think? Do you think it's orbs? Is it a true UAP that can just shrug off a Hellfire missile, or,
No,
and
considering.
what are we doing shooting at this thing, bro?
Here's the thing.
If it was.
Considering that they were talking about it during a U.S. congressional hearing, they are not going to back down from the story now and say, nope, wasn't an orb, was a balloon, guys.
Well, if they do, though, they'll release it on like a way down page down in the lower left-hand corner of a newspaper somewhere, and it'll say, oh, we figured out what was going on. Or they won't see anything because they don't want people to know the capabilities that we can actually hit things with air-to-ground missiles just because we can aim the tracker, so. But if this truly is some kind of advanced craft of some unknown alien race or non-human intelligence, and they are shooting at us, why are we shooting at them? Or they're not shooting at us, why are we shooting at them? So, if anything, it was just minding its own business, and we're firing at it, right? So what are the ROEs? What are your rules of engagement? So you cannot just randomly fire at things in the sky. You have to have permission to shoot things out of the sky. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. People, leave your comments below after the live, and it would be interesting to see what you guys think of that. Let's move on to the next thing. You ready, Michelle? This one's great.
Is this our September 16th?
Yeah. So Tim Burchett is at it again. I love the guy. But so I guess he was being followed by this guy named Matt Laskow of Askapole UAP. And he's with like a little company called Hannibal TV or something like that. I'm not that familiar with it, but so we see Tim Burchett, and he did an interview on this Hannibal TV, but it looks like he's in a high-speed foot chase at his age, right? He looks like he's trying to get somewhere. And I gotta show you guys this. And everybody was making such a big deal about this. And let me see. Is this it? Yeah. Okay. So here's Rep Burchett. It just cracks me up because everybody's like, oh my God, he's saying that there's aliens on the floor of the ocean in the deepest parts. But what everybody has been missing is what he says right before he starts talking about this. And does anybody know what he says? 2 words, right as I say play. Anybody in chat want to take a guess what he says? Anybody in chat? What 2 words he says? All right, I'm just going to play it. I think everybody's sitting on the edge of their seats. No idea. Okay. All right, Dorothy. Listen, you got to listen real close on this because they were being sneaky on this video. They tried to clip it and they couldn't clip it close enough.
What if these are entities that...
What if? He's speculating right there from the beginning. He's not saying this is true, that they know this. What if these are entities that, okay? And everybody's saying, oh my God, there's aliens at the base of the ocean in the deepest parts. No, what if? They don't know what this stuff is. That's why they're getting pissed off. But let's listen to this.
What if these are entities that are here on this earth, that have been on this earth? who knows how long, and that we, we think they're coming in from way out. Maybe they did millennia ago, but they're here and they're in these deep water areas, and that's why. I mean, like we say, we know more about the face of the moon than we do what's going on there, and we have a higher propensity of sightings around these 5 or 6, I believe, deep water areas. And so to me, it just it creates a question there. And then when we have naval personnel telling me that we have these sightings and that there's these underwater craft they're chasing that are doing hundreds of miles an hour, and the best we've got is something that does maybe just a little under 40 miles an hour. So I got a lot of questions about that stuff. What if?
Okay.
So what is the percentage that the oceans haven't been
Mapped?
Is it like 80%?
No, try more like 95.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's correct in that. We don't know a lot about our ocean floor because it's actually easier to deal with things in outer space because you can see into outer space. Once you get about 500 feet, visibility in the ocean is like 0. So you have to have special technology to navigate and get to the bottom of the ocean. And I think the deepest place is the Marianas Trench. And I want to say it's like 7.5 miles deep, and only 6 successful dives and special diving apparatuses, like solid tube-like subs. They're not real subs, but they function as a submarine, made it down there. And, they can only look out of a porthole this big because anything bigger, the pressures would just crush you. But now it's very interesting. I'm not discounting what he's saying. I'm laughing at how people are interpreting what he was saying, but it's the what if, right? But there is a lot of things that are being reported coming out of the ocean, and the submarine stuff, that is all legit. That is all, something that has been going on. So, Michelle, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. For whatever reason, you're sitting there, playing that video. He's saying, what if? And I would like a pair of the glasses that Roddy Piper wore in They Live. That is like the first thing that comes to mind. I'm thinking I need a new pair of sunglasses.
Rowdy Piper.
And let them be the ones that Roddy Piper wore in that movie.
Yeah. And then you get to see how everybody's a damn alien. So, but yeah, I think if we're going to find like bases and stuff, it's probably going to be in the ocean. If they're truly transmedium, I could see that. I could see that happening. All right. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about the deep sea secret labs, other dimensions that, the phenomenon? I know here in Michigan, we get lots of reports because of the freshwater, the huge lakes and the deep waters of Superior and Lake Michigan and stuff. So yeah. And the naval personnel, I mean, there's recently Gallaudet, Rear Admiral Gallaudet has come forward on a few shows and talked about these things going on. So that I think is a lot more serious and more important to talk about when it comes to UAP/UFO, whatever these things are, than the orb being hit with a missile. I think that was something that probably should not have been put out there, and yet it did. So anyways, and by the way, want to just give a huge thank you to Dorothy Hawkins. Once again, Mama Dorothy, thank you for the super chat. You are awesome. All right, let's go on. Now, one of the things that I thought was fantastic with the UAP hearing that happened on the 9th was Representative Luna's opening statements. And her statement, I'm going to play it for you guys here. if you didn't hear it before, she literally throws Kirkpatrick, the former head of Arrow, under the bus. And I think it's perfect. But again, there are things at work within the government to absolutely stop any of the serious investigations that need to go into this UAP stuff. And I don't know why. Like, what is it that these people are so afraid of? If it's our secret tech, okay, sure. But what don't they want us to find out? I mean, I don't, a breakaway civilization or something else living here. I mean, I don't know, but let's see what she has to say. Michelle, check this out. You're going to love this because I know you weren't around when they had the meeting. Well, we were both working, but I watched it as soon as I got home. So listen to what she says.
Has been shrouded in secrecy, stigma, and in some case, outright dismissal. Today, I want to state clearly that this is not science fiction or creating speculation. This is about national security, government accountability, and the American people's right to the truth. I've spoken now to a number of whistleblowers from the military, to include the infamous Eglin Air Force Base incident that occurred when myself and former Representative Matt Gaetz, as well as Representative Burchett, followed up on a lead from multiple active duty Air Force pilot whistleblowers that alleged that the United States Air Force was covering up UAP activity at Eglin Air Force Base. We have heard from a number of whistleblowers, specifically military pilots, that the reason for not coming forward.
Can I just nitpick for a second? Michelle, is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
She keeps saying that they heard from a lot of whistleblowers. Not necessarily. What she's confusing, I think, are whistleblowers versus witnesses. Whistleblowers have like Snowden would be a whistleblower. He had evidence of what was happening and going on within the NSA that he was working for. Things, that's a whistleblower. These sound like witnesses to me, but let's continue.
Publicly is out of fear that speaking out would cost them their flight status and potentially their careers. This is unacceptable. We cannot protect our airspaces if our best trained observers are silenced. We cannot advance science if we refuse to ask questions. And we cannot maintain trust in government if we keep the American people in the dark. Now, Congress has tried to fix this problem. Congress tried to create formal channels through the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, also known as AARO, and the Intelligence Community Inspector General for service members and officials to make disclosures. But the reality, the reports come in are often to brush aside, slow-walked, or met with skepticism rather than serious investigation. Recently, the former AARO director, known as Sean Kilpatrick, attacked our witnesses and members on this committee. It should be noted that he's a documented liar and brings into question what his purpose at AARO really was if it was not to follow up on investigations and disclose his findings to members of Congress.
Holy crap. That was absolutely, when Michelle's done coffee.
Yes, I'm done.
Brilliant. I got to play this again. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Problem. Congress tried to create formal channels through the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, also known as AARO, and the Intelligence Community Inspector General for service members and officials to make disclosures. But the reality, the reports come in are often to brush aside, slow-walked, or met with skepticism rather than serious investigation. Recently, the former AARO director, known as Sean Kilpatrick, attacked our witnesses and members on this committee. It should be noted that he's a documented liar and brings into question what his purpose at AARO really was if it was.
Oh, can you feel that? Can you just feel that angst?
That's
Whoa.
like an ex-girlfriend or an ex-wife just
throw
in the dirt.
I got to hear that one more time.
Oh my gosh.
I do. I love this because they're eating their own right now. She's calling him out. And I love it because that is exactly what he did. And he went on other shows and podcasts and things and downplayed and ridiculed all kinds of people including these members. That is crazy.
Slow walked or met with skepticism rather than serious investigation. Recently, the former ARROW director, known as Sean Kilpatrick, attacked our witnesses and members on this committee. It should be noted that he's a documented liar and brings into question what his purpose at ARROW really was if it was not.
He is a documented liar. Bro, that's a bro moment.
I was waiting for her to look up and like lock eyes with the camera.
Oh yeah. Dude, that's like, what do the kids say? Man, she's got massive aura right now. She's just getting aura points. Sorry, guys.
To follow up on investigations and disclose his findings to members of Congress. A former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, Chris Mellon, described a report published by ARROW that found no evidence that any USG investigation, academic-sponsored research, or official review panel has confirmed any sighting of UAP-represented extraterrestrial technology. As the most error-ridden and unsatisfactory government report I can recall reading during after decades of government service. Mellon further noted that this was a first error report submitted to Congress without the Director of National Intelligence's sign-off and seemingly excluded input from any scholars or experts who have studied or written extensively about this topic, as would normally be in any other case in this field.
So Chris Mellon, the former Deputy Director of Secretary of State, I think. Anyways, he wrote this long article that ripped apart the last UAP document that they put out on the history of UFOs and UAPs. And it was trash. It was trash. Absolute garbage. And Mellon called it out. And she is using that in her opening statement, which is fantastic.
Mellon determined that this report failed to fulfill the congressional mandate under which it was required, omitted entire agencies with known investigations or activities related to UAPs, and omitted any discussion of efforts to hide classified or unclassified information about UAP. Such efforts were unaddressed by the report, despite the existence of agency records and investigations concurring with them, including those at U.S. Customs and Border Protection. If we set up offices and oversight bodies only to let them become graveyards for testimony, or worse yet, ruses for pretending to investigate when in actuality there was no follow-up, then we are not doing our jobs. In recent months, Congress has also been presented with evidence that points to technologies that, to our knowledge, are beyond our current capabilities.
Whoa. Hold it.
Are you going to play that again?
Yep. Ready?
When in actuality there was no follow-up, then we are not doing our jobs. In recent months, Congress has also been presented with evidence that points to technologies that, to our knowledge, are beyond our current capabilities.
Boom.
Boom. This is what she was saying on Joe Rogan. They have been presented with evidence of technologies that, to our knowledge, are beyond our current capabilities. I mean, I wonder who. I'm not going to say it.
It is our duty as elected representatives to follow the facts wherever they lead and to ensure that those facts are not buried under classification stamps or bureaucratic excuses. Let me be clear, whether UAPs represent adversarial technology, natural phenomena, or something beyond current human understanding, Congress has a responsibility to investigate. If these objects are foreign in origin, then they pose a direct threat to our national security. And if
Correct.
they represent something unknown, they demand rigorous scientific inquiry, not ridicule, not secrecy, and not silence. The
Correct.
stakes are very high.
The stakes are very high. And I'm sure she's not talking about ribeye and filet mignon.
Adversarial nations are not waiting for us to catch up. They are studying these phenomena as well aggressively, as multiple nations have also announced their own parliamentary investigations into this very topic.
Now, did anybody out there know that other countries are rigorously investigating this as well? So guess what it is? It's a race to figure out what the hell's going on. So
if we are to continue to hide information from ourselves, we risk strategic surprise. If we continue to ignore our pilots and service members, as well as countless government whistleblowers, we risk losing their trust. And if we continue to shield the truth from the public, we risk eroding the very foundation of democratic accountability. This is why this hearing matters. This is not about fueling speculation. This is about demanding the basic transparency from the Department of Defense and the intelligence community and other military contractors.
Yep.
It is about asking the questions every American has the right to ask. What do we know? What don't we know? And why in a free society are we being told so little? A major barrier to this committee's inquiry into UAPs has been the lack of cooperation and transparency from the Department of Defense and the intelligence community.
Oh, really? Excuse me, Miss Luna or Mrs. Luna. What was that again?
Cooperation and transparency from the Department of Defense. Inquiry into UAPs has been the lack of cooperation and transparency from the Department of Defense and the intelligence community. In preparation for previous UAP hearings, the committee repeatedly asked the Department of Defense to allow members to view videos and files related to UAP incidences.
Makes sense.
Unfortunately, the Department of Defense notified the committee staff that due to the department's special access program rules, only members of the House Armed Service Committee, as well as the Defense Subcommittee on House Appropriations, also known as HAC-D, were allowed to be read in onto such programs. For a non-committee...
That's the same crap they tell presidents, too.
Yep.
You don't have the clearance to be read in on that, sir, ma'am. Really? I get it. They're temporary employees. They could be out, at the next election cycle, but you just have them do non-disclosure and, secrecy stuff, or you're going to prison if it's that bad. But
member to be allowed to view these documents and videos, individual members must be approved by the chairman and ranking member of both HASC and HAC-D. Independent staff oversight has presented a consistent problem for Congress, as well as program budgets are classified. Additionally, oversight reporting to Congress is classified and only provided to the authorizing and appropriations committees of jurisdiction. The American people are not fragile. They do not need to be shielded like children from reality.
I disagree. Sorry. My confidence in the American people right now as of being not fragile. I think you raised up a whole generation of children out there that don't understand sticks and stones may break their bones, but names can never hurt them. I guess they can now. Jesus.
They cannot tolerate, and what they will not forgive, is a government that withholds the truth and punishes those who dare to speak up. I want to close with this. Future generations will look back at this moment and ask what we did when presented with the unknown. Did we look away, embarrassed or afraid, or did we pursue the truth with courage? I intend to be on the side of truth, transparency, and accountability, and I hope my colleagues on this task force will be able to do the same.
What I was going to say earlier, it has to do with she sounds like she's one of those people that might have an accident, if you know what I'm saying. Like, she sounds like she wants to get down.
She's her own whistleblower.
Well,
and I know what you had said earlier too about, her misusing that word. I don't think that she did.
Okay.
When she was saying whistleblower, it's pretty much anyone in a military capacity that runs the risk of some sort of retaliation, that they are protected under those whistleblower laws.
Okay.
So I think that she was pretty accurate when she was using that word earlier. Hopefully the same safeguards are for her.
Well, I'm just worried about her and Burleson and Burchett. I'm worried about those three because they're the ones that are really pushing to figure out what's going on, even if it is all this stuff is some kind of special access program or recovered craft or whatever. Man, I just worry that something bad happens to them, because people that start digging and exposing people like Sean Kirkpatrick being a documented liar and all the crap that he did to stop the investigations, it puts a target on you. I mean, she's a badass though. I mean, all three of them are, but man, oh man.
To quote a few elected officials, Senator Schumer has stated multiple credible sources allege a constitutional crisis over UFOs. Senator Rounds has stated that these are brilliant individuals and they are not making this stuff up. And our current Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has stated very high clearances and high positions within our government in regards to these whistleblowers. Senator McConnell also described these whistleblowers as sane and credible. And the witnesses today are not alone. In fact, they're far from it. In fact, 34 senior military, government, and intelligence officials have broken their silence. This includes now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Senator Rounds, Senator Gillibrand, General Jim Clapper, the former director of the government's UAP task force, the former head of aviation security for the White House National Security Council.
FYI, Gillibrand has some of Benny's metal. Just so you guys know, Benny's metal has been divided, not all of it divided up, but certain pieces have been given to Gillibrand. I think Luna has some. I don't know who else, but we're gonna be very soon with the actual metal. So we got some cool stuff to show you guys by the end of the month. I can't wait. Michelle, help me. Well, there was a person who was a psychic who handled the metal that passed out when she was handling it. So, all right, let's finish this off.
And then we'll talk about
The
that.
former Secretary of Defense and many more. Again, to quote Secretary of State Rubio in an upcoming documentary known as The Age of Disclosure, even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis that begins to spin out of control. And to quote Senator Gillibrand, who also went public in this documentary, it's not acceptable to have secret parts of this government that no one ever sees. It's time for the fundamental truths of UAP to be revealed to our nation's leaders and the public. It's time for the U.S. government to exercise transparency. And with that, I yield to Ranking Member Crockett for the opening statement.
Thank you so much, Madam.
All right, we're gonna stop it there. Okay. All right. Oh, hey, what do we got here? Dude, your throughput. Hold on, let's put this up here and read this. Dude, your throughput effing sucks. This is somebody in chat. Anywhere else on YouTube, I have clean streaming. This channel keeps lagging and rebuffering. Spend the money on the infrastructure, a-hole. Well, first of all, I don't own Spectrum Internet, a-hole. And if they're having an issue, it's not my problem. Deal with it.
And this is where free speech has just come in.
Yeah. Go find another channel to watch. Since your internet is working perfect with everybody else, there you go. And look, I got people telling me here that they're not lagging. So I don't know. Maybe you're just glitching. All right. Fun times.
Someone swallowed the blue pill. What was the blue pill? Was the blue pill or the red pill?
I don't know. All right. So we're done with that. Michelle, your thoughts on her opening statements?
Definitely had a lot of kahunas to
Yep.
call someone out for lying. But like I said, I would have loved just being a drama teacher. I wanted her to look up and like lock eyes.
Right.
Because that's the true screw you. I've got you.
Yeah. Well, you know. All right. We've got something else that has been going on too. This I don't want to say stupid.
That's right. The red exit, blue stays. Oh, you took the red pill then.
I'm not on Spectrum and I'm not lagging one bit. Well, you know, sorry, that's the company that we are forced to use in this area because that's the only company.
And we pay a pretty price for StreamYard. They're not cheap.
And we have a higher bit rate. I mean, we pay for faster internet service than normal. So anyways, hey, look, it's Mind Forked. What's up? All right. Panama. Michelle, why don't you read this news story? And that talks about the venom-like, God dang it. The venom-like meteorite video debunked. Here's the truth. Do you got it?
Are we talking about this one from TikTok?
Look, it's on NDTV.
Oh, the footage spread rapidly across TikTok and YouTube.
Yes, that one.
Oh, yes. 'cause
Let
we
me
can
share
always
this with
trust-
everybody. Go ahead. You
We
start
can
reading
always trust TikTok
it. Well,
with viewers dubbing the object Venom for its likeness to the Marvel character.
yes.
Jeez. So a TikTok series by a man in Panama has triggered global speculation about alien life after he claimed a meteorite had landed in his backyard and begun transforming like Venom, the Marvel character. Watch out, Spidey. As the post gained traction, users started decoding what the substance could be. And one Reddit user debunked the Venom theory by presenting scientific explanation of the phenomenon. So the TikTok user at Panama uploaded the videos on August 29th that showed a rock-like object appearing to ooze a greenish yellow substance. Zits will do that too. And later darkening into a sticky black coating. He alleged it gave off a burning smell.
Okay, so Nathan just the tater invader.
I'm trying to read this and not laugh at the same time and hold a coughin. Oh, geez. He allegedly gave off a burning smell and said universities ignored his attempts to seek help. It's kind of like saying something tastes like shit. Here, you taste it.
That's right. Right. Oh my God, this is horrible. Here, try it.
Oh my God.
So hold on. Let's look at
Oh, you
this.
got to show the video.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Let me turn off that. So look at it move and stuff. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Here's my, well.
You wait for the jump scare for it to jump out at you.
I'll let you finish the article. There's just a little bit left. Go ahead.
The footage spread rapidly across TikTok and YouTube, with viewers dubbing the object Venom for its likeness to the Marvel character.
Yeah.
From curiosity to frenzy, within days, the clips amassed millions of views, sparking debates over whether the strange object was genuine or a hoax. Some speculated about aliens, others suggested artificial intelligence or computer-generated imagery. The dramatic visuals left many unsettled. It looks alive, one TikTok user commented, reflecting the mix of fascination and fear that propelled the story worldwide. Now, the claim debunked. This week, a Reddit user under the name High Strangeness offered what scientists say is the most credible explanation so far. The substance was not alien at all, but a silicone-based polymer known as PDMS. I'm not going to say the scientific term. Can't break that one down. Mixed with hexane, a common solvent. Both materials are widely used in everyday life, from medical devices and cookware to lubricants and sealants. The eerie muscle-like movements seen in the videos were explained as swelling-induced snapping motion. As PDMS absorbs hexane, it expands, said the Reddit user. When the solvent evaporates unevenly, the polymer contracts irregularly, creating jerking, breathing-like motions. The combination of texture, color, and movement made the object appear disturbingly organic. Made it look like it was moving and breathing and like it was going to do a jump scare.
Well, in other videos too. So I was looking at this and researching it while I was dying of back to school crud. And I'm looking at this thing, and honestly, when I see somebody with no gloves on touching something and cutting pieces of it off, okay, you don't have to be scientifically trained or be a scientist to know you don't do that. And that makes me think of that Boogosphere, I think it's called, that metal object that they recovered. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. That Boogosphere, the reason it reminds me of that is because when people first saw it, and like in this case, this Panama was the handle, right? They're handling the creature, the quote unquote, without gloves. and there's a blatant like disregard for like personal safety.
Like, where's the hazmat suits?
Yeah, exactly. I think a 5-year-old child,
Like the little fabric tunnels and areas where you would get, fumigated.
yeah, you know, you just don't go and handle things like that. So now that boogosphere thing, and we didn't look into that a lot, but that seems to be something completely different. Like that is a little out there, and I need to do some more digging into that, which, it makes me wonder some of the stuff that they've done with it. It might be some kind of a legit, like a literal sphere. I don't know. It's so hard, but it's kind of disappeared. You haven't heard much about it anymore. So, and then I've got here, what is strange is that the boogosphere shows up March 2nd, 2025. And now we have 3IATLAS, which seems to appear out of deep space and has scientists still scratching their head since it was discovered on July 1st, 2025. So it's just like this constant cycle of things that seem to be happening. And I don't know what to make of it. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is like a cover up? Do you think it was real? I don't personally think so, but yeah. Anyways, leave some comments below. Once we're done with the live stream, you guys let us know what you think on this venom-like meteorite. Just, if you guys do find anything, please don't handle it with your hands, just blatantly and cutting it in pieces. I mean, anyways.
I was going to say, we already know of things that have been cut into pieces.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into the last topic for tonight, and that's 3IATLAS. So what I just want to do is, there's all this speculation about, is it an alien craft? Is it slowing down?
Or is it speeding up?
Or, right, is it breaking apart? So I went through and I found as many like data points that I could from legitimate sources. And so let's talk about it for a minute. You guys decide, and let's keep watching it and see what happens. But it was discovered on the 1st of July, 2025 by ATLAS, which stands for the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System in Chile. It is an interstellar comet designated 3I, meaning the third known interstellar object. All right. Let's see. Its orbit is hyperbolic with a very high eccentricity, meaning it's not bound to the sun's gravity. It's just passing through. And a retrograde orbit inclined about 5 degrees relative to the ecliptic. So you're probably going, what the heck is he talking about? All right. All the planets going around the sun are on an elliptic, right? It's the orbit around the sun. And most of those planets are in the same plane, like center with the sun and then going around the center of the sun, right? There's some variation, like the moon is on the Earth ecliptic, but it varies by about 5 degrees up and down. And it does kind of like one of these, if you look at it over time, the moon wavers 5 degrees up above our ecliptic and then down and then back up and down. Well, what's really weird about 3IATLAS is that it's at about that same kind of relative, like with our solar disk, right? With everything going around it, it's pretty much at that same plane, which is extremely odd. So it's going to have its closest approach to the sun, which is called perihelion. That will be on the 29th of October. And it's going to be about 1.36 astronomical units from the sun. That's between Earth's orbit and Mars orbit. So an astronomical unit is just simply the distance between Earth and the sun, which is 93 on average, 93, we round up, million miles. Let's see, what else do we have? its physical size and features. It says it's the estimated nucleus is uncertain, somewhere between not the size of the sun. My God, I heard people talking about they thought it was like the size of the sun or a quarter size of the sun or something. No, it's anywhere from 0.32 kilometers to 5.6 kilometers in diameter. So they're leaning more toward it being the smaller end, accounting for the coma effect. And the coma is like basically the tail that's being given off. What else? It has a coma of gas and dust and a developing tail. So there's all that. And we'll talk about how that's weird though. So trust me, but it's acting like a normal comet in a way. It has a coma cloud of gas and dust and a developing tail. Observations show both a sun-facing dust plume. So there's this weird dust in front of it. So from the heated side, and an anti-solar tail. So the tail pointing away from the sun as solar radiation pushes dust away. So it is moving at 209,000 kilometers per hour or 130,000 miles per hour. The chemistry of this thing, what is it made out of? It is very rich in CO2, so carbon dioxide, and James Webb observations indicate an unusual high CO2 to H2O water ratio, which is very strange yet again. In addition to CO2, detected compound or components include H2O, water vapor, and ice, CO, which is carbon monoxide, that's the stuff that kills you, and then OCS, which is carbonyl sulfide, nickel vapor, cyanide gas, and dust. Now, I'm not going to read this next thing. I'm just going to give you a translation of what it is. The dust around 3IATLAS is different from the usual stuff we see in our solar system. And that is maybe particles are a weird size, it's a weird shape, are made of unusual material that we're not familiar with. This is an interstellar object, so it's from outside our solar system. We know that pretty well because of its track that it's running. Let's see. Okay, so here's the controversial stuff. I'm interested to see what you guys think. So it's got a change of color that's going on. It's turning green, which is weird. And that could be because it's outgassing cyanide and nickel, which is, again, something very strange. The color change could be misinterpreted, but is still a natural process in known comets. So we know that comets do this. There are the alien tech and probe theories, maybe, because, there's Avi Loeb, who co-authored some what if papers and post on his, what is it? What is the blogs and vlogs and all that stuff they still put out there, that we should now, this I agree with. And his post suggests that we should not dismiss the possibility that 3IATLAS could be artificial, or at least that its properties are unusual. Correct. I totally agree with that. We don't know exactly what it is, so we shouldn't dismiss anything. Of course, there's some strong pushback because of that behavior, the chemistry, and all that good stuff. But it is consistent with natural comets, but just unusual. There's no signals, no propulsion, or any behavior that clearly violates natural physics. There's brightness about the nucleus and the size uncertainties. The nucleus diameter estimates vary widely. Some claim Manhattan sized, and those seem to be sensational and likely exaggerated. And then there's the questions about what is it doing? So why is the CO2 and H2O ratio so high? 8-to-1. 8 CO2 to 1 H2O, 1 water. And that's from James Webb observations. What does that suggest about its formation environment? So the place that it came from, how did it form? Could it have an artificial origin? What evidence would we need to seriously consider that? Do we need propulsion? Do we need a radio signal coming from it? Is there some kind of unnatural shape or behavior? And then kicking it back to you guys. What do you guys think? Is this natural? Is this alien? Maybe it's a mix. How do we know what aliens would even use? Maybe they do stuff like this. I see some people saying it's Nibiru, right? Yeah. The Anunnaki are returning. So, it could we at least go and say that it might have an artificial origin, which would be very interesting.
I agree with our friends in chat. If it stops, though,
yeah,
it's not natural.
Yeah, and like Metalhead is saying, it's just unusual at this point. It is. It's an unusual comet. And it's an interstellar object. So we know that. So it's going to be made of different materials than like our solar system than what we're used to. So, I guess we just keep an eye on it. I thought I saw or heard some reports yesterday, maybe it was Friday, that it looks like it's either starting to break apart and or slow down.
See, in just a week and a half ago, they were saying it was speeding up.
Right. So who knows? I will have to do some more digging, but at least you guys have the basic understanding, at least what we know so far, that I could dig up and put out for bullet points for you guys. Some people are really freaking out though, man. And
no, I'm not wearing tinfoil on my head for this one, dear.
No, this is the one that you don't wear tinfoil on your head. You wear the tinfoil Speedos. Okay. So you just want to, no hats, just put on your tinfoil Speedos and you'll be all right.
Protect your, what?
Okay. Here's what I'm going to say on that. If you're trying to protect your brain from signals, do not put a conductive metal on your head. You turn yourself into a big antenna. So a tinfoil hat defeats the purpose of what you think it's supposed to do, unless you want to beam the signals into your brain. But I highly do not recommend that.
Well, speaking of metals and brains, so
we
were talking about the metal that Benny possesses and what's left of it. Well, Wayne and I in a couple weeks, about 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
We're going to be in the company of Benny and his wife Patsy and also the metal.
Yes.
So it is reported that there was a psychic who, when she held it,
correct,
passed out. So Wayne will be videotaping me as I hold this alien metal and vice versa. So we should have some interesting videos.
Yeah.
Towards the end of October as we upload them. We'll have to upload them
it'll be when we get back, because the internet down there is horrible. If people are complaining about my internet, dude, you have no idea what it's like down there in, was it Zanesville? Or something along those lines?
It's
in the country.
It's down near Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
But some things before we start wrapping up here. I don't know if you wanted to cover that last bit.
Yeah, let's go over it real quick.
We've got it in the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Do you want to
the Charlie Kirk thing?
Guys, yeah, of all times when we're sick and so much was going on.
Well, you had September 9th was the UAP hearing.
Yeah.
September 10th was the assassination. Yep.
And then the very next day was
September 11th.
Yeah. So I know I was driving home from work when I had called Wayne to see if he had made it home yet. And he's like, "Did you hear about Charlie Kirk?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "No, I didn't hear anything." And so when I heard the news, it was kind of like that gut punch. Like I've seen the videos and I've seen, the controversial arguments back and forth. But seeing what we put in the show notes tonight, I can definitely say that I think we're both like-minded on this one. So, Wayne, you want to?
Well, all I can say is I've had a lot of people tell me a lot of crazy things and come up with some conspiracy theories, and it's the guy standing there with his arms crossed and he's got a weapon in his hand, and the guys are, the big muscle bodybuilder bodyguards are standing there and they're adjusting their shirts and they're giving hand signals because, well, dude,
all the way to MK Ultra,
right?
So
and it's like hot out, okay? And so when you're wearing a tight shirt, you're trying to loosen it up, especially if you're a big dude, right? And Charlie Kirk is going to talk for like 3 hours and you're there, dude. You can't. Occam's razor sometimes has to be followed. This dude was seriously messed up that pulled off this assassination. They've got video of him. So much of it is look, he wasn't killed, in my honest opinion, based on politics or anything like that. He wasn't. He was exposing what's going on in the university systems with your children. Okay? The universities are messing with kids' minds.
One thing that they stopped teaching was debate.
Yep. And that's what he did. Socratic debate.
Yeah, he did Socratic debate. And one thing that they have stopped teaching is how to properly debate.
Yep.
Everything turns automatically to mudslinging. It's hard to, state facts in an argument when I think, what do I want to say, that emotions were intentionally set high considering what students were going up to the mic to discuss.
Yep. Well, again, it's about the soft culture. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names could never hurt me. Well, if somebody now disagrees with you, and let's say they're like stupid ass Trump, who doesn't know how to talk and he calls people names and, he's a buffoon. Okay. But so what? That means he's got to die. Give me a break. Not everybody who disagrees with you is a racist, or it's violence, or they hate you. They disagree with you.
It goes back to the saying, agree to disagree.
Right. But it's the exposure. What Kirk did, and my paranormal spidey sense went off on this, because this is where I think there is some of that stuff going on, where this is like evil infiltration of these evil things that go through our consciousness. Right. Right. Yeah. Charlie Kirk was against DEI. Right. Okay. So he should be killed for that, right? He didn't agree with the policy. He didn't say that people that were DEI should be killed or should be put in prison camps. But boy, they were telling you that if you didn't want to get the jab during COVID, right? Oh, don't give them hospital stays if they get sick. But a woman can have an abortion if she wants, but you can't decide for your body if you want to take some untested garbage into your system, which, I don't get it. And the reason that it bothers me, first of all, I think it is a form of spiritual warfare that has made itself very apparent that there is spiritual warfare that is happening. And Kirk, being a Christian, was exposing the evil in the thought process. And so I just believe that it was more about a faith thing than any political views or DEI or anything like that. I think it was more an attack on the Christian belief system. And I'm not a Christian. Okay. But that's just like my opinion on it. He was assassinated because he exposed the underbelly of what goes on in these universities. And a lot of you out there, if you knew what was going on, you would probably be disgusted. Absolutely. All right. And again, what they push is the same old Frankfurt School Marxism garbage when they came over here before the start of World War II and infiltrated into the colleges. It's the same old crap. Everybody somehow, some way is being oppressed. If it's not women, it's minorities. And if it's not minorities, it's immigrants. And if it's not this, it's that. And it really ticks me off because if you want to live your life like you're always being oppressed or there's always somebody oppressed, we're talking about college kids that you can go a country over and they're not getting free schooling. They're not going to college to get a higher education because their country doesn't offer it. Right? It makes no sense that you're complaining about how good your life is or what your parents have done for you and got you in a college or pay for this or that. It's never about the issue. It's always about what group they can play off against each other. Always. And it switches. It's like, how can the LGBTQ community be partnered up with Palestinians? They're Muslim. That is against Muslim law. And I know Muslims and how they feel and what their laws say about that stuff. It doesn't make sense because it's not about the issues. Okay. It's about the power grab. It's getting rid of one power structure for another. And that's really all it is. It's propaganda. It's the old French revolutionary stuff of the working class versus the rich class. And then there's the government class. And then what happens? You kill off one group and then another group comes into power. And guess who the enemy is that time? It's the Bolshevik revolution, right? It's the Maoist. It's always the same stuff. Everybody thinks they have all the answers and they can run things better, and they don't. They don't. So I don't know. It ticked me off because for us as people that look into these paranormal and UFO, UAP things, if we don't have free speech to talk about this stuff, shows like ours and everybody else out there will go away. It'll go away. Nobody will want to talk anymore. All right. Nobody will want to talk. And I think that's kind of what the evil wants, right? Stop the debate, stop the talk. But you have to understand there's an ideology that's involved. And it's now all of this stuff is based on religion. Get rid of the Christian, get rid of the old religion. And now there's a new one, whether it's transhumanism, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Atheism, being an atheist, that's a religion, right? You have to have faith that there is no God, just like you have to have faith that there is a God. I don't know, but it's really getting out of control in this country, and it's happening at the speed of light because of all the technology and the discord and all that stuff that happens when you don't see what's going on behind the internet closed doors in these chats and groups. I have tons of students that use Discord. Their parents don't even know what it is, what they talk about, what they're listening to. It's really crazy. I'm lucky that I found a school that I work for that does not allow phones anywhere on the premises. It goes in your locker and it stays there, and you can't use it till the end of the day.
No, and I wish that was the case with us because, the kids need to put the phones down so that they can actually hold a conversation.
Yeah, and they can't. And it's
Not for any sustained amount of time with eye contact.
yeah, it's really bad, people. It's really bad. And I think back to what was it, the 94 was it Zimbabwe school children?
Oh, Ariel?
The Ariel
Yep.
school children, right? And the aliens supposedly told them, be careful with your technology, it will be the end of you. And everybody was like, oh my God, nuclear weapons and all that. If this is true, didn't say nothing about nuclear weapons. It is about our technology. And it's out of our control. Like, so I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys, but it's an interesting time, but it's also a little freaky time. And you're not going to get rid of free speech in this country. You're not going to get rid of the Second Amendment. You're not going to get rid of any of the other amendments in the Bill of Rights. Okay. Try whatever you do. It's not going to happen. And people will fight to the end for it. And so, because this is the only place here. I think Reagan said it. We were only one generation away from losing freedom. We're at that generation, people. This is it. Maybe he was read in on a special access program. The Smith-Mundt Act, now, that was removed when Obama was in power. Now, media companies and the government news stations like NPR and stuff can propagandize the American people, right? It's
wasn't Space Force started back in the 80s with Reagan?
oh yeah. It was just part of the Air Force. Trump broke it into its own separate thing. It wasn't like he created Space Force. It's been here. He just made it a separate military branch. Big whoop-de-doo. Again, he's as big of an idiot as the rest of them. He's just got more money. I can't stand any of them. So anyways, I honestly think it's spiritual warfare, whether you believe it or not. I think it's evil. It lies and it bends the truth to suit its needs. And in a day and age where no one knows what is real anymore. Okay. You can't tell if things are AI or anything anymore. We could be AI right now.
We were looking at pictures earlier of the church shooting here in Grand Blanc.
Yeah.
And it was like looking at the truck against the building. It almost looked like AI.
Yeah.
The way that the flags were positioned in the back of the guy's truck.
Right. There was 2 American flags on poles inside the pickup truck. And it looked like it had smashed through the opening of the church. But it didn't look right. You know what I mean? You can tell.
It was like just something looked AI generated.
Yeah. And that's the only picture we saw of that anyways. It's like the only one that was out there floating around. Guess where? Twitter. Right. So I don't know. You can't trust the government. You can't trust the media. You can't even trust content creators because everything can be faked. Right. So in my opinion, it's a wake-up call, people. If we do not find a way to bring back, a way to back to actually having talking and conversations instead of labeling and dehumanizing and shooting, then the future is very dark. And it's not going to be a good place to be. And if America goes, everybody knows the planet goes. China will make their move. North Korea will make their move. Russia will just plow over Europe while they're still figuring out what year it is. Africa will be run over. I mean,
I like the phrase in chat, we need actual intelligence, not artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boy, if that cannot be a truer statement tonight.
That is a very true statement. So,
well, guys,
yeah.
next Sunday we have our sister from another mister.
Yes, from New Jersey.
Miss Gemma.
Gemma Jade
Gemma's
will be
gonna
with us.
Gemma's going to be back with us. And then,
and then Sunday, let me make sure I got the date
I'm
right.
going to say the 12th.
October 12th. Speaking of evil,
You got Nathaniel
Gillis, the demonologist and the creator of the studies of necronetics. Yes, Nathaniel's always a great guest.
And then we're going to be changing things up for a couple weeks. It won't be Sundays. So October 19th, we have a prior engagement that we are
Correct.
scheduled to be at.
Yep.
And then
So the 18th, right?
Yeah. So I'm thinking the 18th, we're going to do a Saturday night show. And then the weekend of the 25th, the 26th, which is Sunday.
Yep. That's our trip.
We will be driving back. So look for a show sometime during the week.
Yep.
So,
I love that comment, Johnny. He says Carl Jung knew something. Yes, he did. He understood the human monster, right? And boy, with things going on today, it's very easy to access that human monster and manipulate it. And that's what you got to keep your eyes out for. So hopefully, me more than Michelle didn't come off too hard on the whole Charlie Kirk thing and all that, but we've got to have a common ground to understand that we are humans. We're all humans on this rock, and we have to figure out a way that we recognize that. Now, some people see a spiritual connection, other people don't. I would like to think that we are more than what a bag of bones and an accidentally created consciousness, and then that's the end. Even Metalhead says it, I give it all to God. Yeah, there you go. If you can just recognize that somebody you are in a heated debate with, no matter how much you want to hate them, just hate what they're saying, but recognize that's coming from a person. All right. That's somebody's kid, right? That's somebody's parent, right? Be a freaking human for a change. All right.
Got to go back to valuing human life.
Yeah. That's really it.
That's the root of it.
And, if that means a biblical spiritual connection for you, then use it. Okay. But yeah, we gotta tamp this stuff down. All right. And especially don't listen to freaking politicians. They're going to say whatever that they want to get reelected and whatever you want to hear. So I don't know, Michelle, if they have a story, what do they do?
Please email us at mi.ufo.podcast@gmail.com.
Yep. And you guys know how to support the channel. All the links are below, but there's PayPal, Super Chats, buy us a coffee, all that good stuff, Patreon. The best thing you guys can do, though, is just become a YouTube member or just subscribe to the show. We have an incredible number of people, like in the 80 percentile range. And Michelle said, don't talk about the percentages. But like 80% of our watchers are not subscribed to the channel. And we're like 24 people away from hitting that 2K member mark. So just become a subscriber, hit that notification bell, help us out. And then Michelle, what else should they do? What shouldn't they forget?
Oh, like, share, and subscribe.
And smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
Yep. And then also remember that we put the show out as an audio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and all those other places. Just help us out and listen to the show that way if you would like. And then we've got our new website up and running. So far, so good. I don't think the email section is running on the website, so I got to see if I can figure out what's going on with that. But anyways, that's a side project. Michelle.
Have a great night, everyone.
Yeah. You guys have been awesome tonight. Have a great night. And remember, you guys know what to say.
Yeah. Keep your eyes to that sky.
Keep your eyes to that sky.